With that, Karin Nordstrom's going to come up and introduce Kelli. Kelli, you can come forward if you would, please. And Karin, as you have heard today, is very integrated into everything artistry and Bloomington arts in general. And so she's going to do the introduction today. Thank you very much.
And I'm going to explain. My mom was pregnant with me when she and my dad were in a choir in Chattanooga, Tennessee, which is where I was born. So I didn't realize that till recently when I saw a picture of them being interviewed by the Chattanooga newspaper. So that's why I'm into the arts so much. And then the other thing was she insisted I be in the arts. So I'm not going to take any time. I don't think these people need any introduction. We're starting another chapter, and the board is feeling very comfortable with this new leadership. They're terrific. They know what's going on. They've got contacts, and it was clear from the very beginning when Kelli kind of took the helm that, get up here.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Allyson Richert, and I am one of the co-artistic directors at Artistry. I'm co-artistic director with Ben Bakken, who is not here today because he is currently putting up our next gallery, and this is why we're co, so we can be every place we need to be at once. Just to tell you a little bit about myself, I'm part of the new leadership team with Kelli and Ben. I'm the only one on the team who is not a native Minnesotan, but I grew up in Florida and spent my years in the arts. And Karin, as you said, I don't know if I was in my mom's belly while she was doing something artistic. My girls certainly have been, and my kids are already teaching dance at preschool. So I understand where that comes from. I spent my years in Florida, went to the University of Florida, got a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Musical Theater Performance. From there, I went on to perform in 3 national Broadway tours. My last time I was in town in Minneapolis was Catch Me If You Can back in 2012. So if you caught that one, I was here for that. I spent 10 years almost in New York City. And at the end of my 9.5 year, I was offered a job at the Guthrie to spend the summer in Minneapolis. And I was like, that sounds fantastic. I've never really spent time in Minnesota. So I came out here in the summer and fell in love with Minneapolis and the Twin Cities in the summer, like you do. And then committed. I ended up meeting the man that I am now married to in those 3.5 months. And I moved back here 9 months later and started my life and my career here in the Twin Cities. In that time, I have been a school director at a very large dance studio in Edina. I have been an artistic director at a theater in St. Cloud where I was commuting 3 to 4 times a week. And so when the opportunity presented itself for me to do the job that I love in the community that I love, 8 minutes from my home, I jumped all over that. And that was my introduction to being a part of the Artistry leadership. I will say that day one was tricky for me as I started this past fall on September 6th, and it was September 7th that our leadership quickly changed. In that time, I can tell you that artistically, not only have I grown, but as a human, as a leader, as a manager of people and folks and those in my community who are incredibly talented and who have watched everything happen and still showed up to a completely full audition list and have proudly taken the stage under the Artistry name. The things I have learned at that time have been phenomenal and far beyond anything that I could be taught in a classroom. So even with the negative comes a ton of positive, and also with that positive comes the hopes and the dreams and the fact that I know the reason I'm still here and the reason I'm standing in front of you today is because what we are ready to do and what we are doing is going to be greater than anything I think that has been done in a long time, and I fully stand behind that. And that's truly with the leadership of Kelli Foster Warder, who I'm going to introduce right now to you.
You be the boss of this. Hi, my name is Kelli Foster Warder, and I am the Executive Artistic Director at Artistry. I think I've only said that twice. So it is a humbling honor to be a part of the legacy that is Artistry. I am a Minnesotan, born and raised. I was born in St. Paul, and I actually came out humming. My dad was a musician, and I literally was humming music, so I had no choice either. That's just what it was, humming and dancing. And I just want to pause really quick and say just the last half hour has been super inspiring. Just listening to the dedication and the history and the legacy, like this is kind of not kind of, it's pretty moving. And you'll see I have we all have our strengths and our faults, and we all have the parts of ourselves that we can't control, and what you get from me is fully me. So if it's teary, if it's whatever it is, it's going to be fully me. And today I'm teary, y'all. You do some amazing things, and we're really thankful. We know that the Rotary has been a part of our history, and that you have donated, you've supported, you've come out for not just artistry, but all of the arts in Bloomington. And so just to pause and say thank you for what you've already done is really important. Actually, someone from the Rotary reached out to us, newbies, not knowing, and said, hey, are you going to apply for a grant? We're like, there's a grant. So thank you even for that, just for reaching out to us new folks and reminding us that there are people here that really believe in us. So thank you for that. As I said, I grew up here. I started humming my dad's music and then was a dancer. I have performed on many Twin Cities stages, but at the same time, I was always a teacher. So I was either teaching somebody something or was always dancing about something. And so I grew up south of the river. I opened Eastview High School and was their dance and diversity coordinator in Apple Valley. I worked at Rosemount, and my degree is actually in education. I didn't pursue dance. I always say dance, it'll find me, and it always has. Dance and theater has just always found me, but I just feel like teaching and education is the most important job in the world, and so I'm constantly straddling those worlds, which is why artistry is a perfect place. Professionally, I worked at Hennepin Theater Trust, and I ran their education program and did producing there. Then I worked at the Ordway as their director of education and producing associate, and produced theater and all of those amazing education programs that the Ordway does. If you're familiar, it's pretty fantastic. I was lucky to be a part of that. And then I was associate artistic director at Theater La Ti Da in Minneapolis. I've been a choreographer and partner at La Ti Da for, 11 or 12 years now. And when the world stopped and we were dealing with a pandemic and a racial conversation that started right here in our community, it was an opportunity to go to La Ti Da and say, how does theater respond to that? And so I spent a few years doing that. I'm still directing there and connected there, but I came on to consult with Artistry when the artistic director decided to step away. He and I had a relationship. I was a person that he would reach out to and chat with, and it was a great opportunity to say, what's next? Because we're all trying to figure that out. Everybody that is making arts and bringing people together live is like, the world has changed. What are we going to do? So to get to be a part of Artistry and help them do that as a consulting producer was fantastic. My Artistry story is that in 2012, I was performing. Ben Bakken, who's our other co-artist director, said, please come and audition at Chanhassen in Hairspray. And so I had a 5-year-old and she was going to kindergarten. I was like, perfect time. I did Hairspray there. And Michael Matthew Farrell, which some of you, if you're familiar with Artistry, may know the legacy of the late, great Michael Matthew Farrell. He directed and choreographed a lot at Artistry. And Alive and Kickin', if you're familiar with Alive and Kickin', he was the founder of that organization, and he was going to direct his very first show at Artistry. He's a choreographer extraordinaire, but no one had given him the chance. And something that Artistry does so amazingly well is give people a chance and that next step. And so he called me and said, I gotta have you. So in 2012, the summer I spent at Artistry in 42nd Street. I played Lorraine. I was the oldest person in the ensemble. I had very sore hips, but I iced them every night and tap danced my face off, and it was so much fun. And I got to be a part of what that Artistry community is, right? And at the time, I think I made $300 for the entire summer. So I lived in Richfield, thankfully, so gas. I think I actually maybe made $10 that summer, and it worked out. But what I learned was how great Artistry is and the launching pad that it is, and that led me to all of the next steps in my career. And so I'm personally grateful to Artistry, and one of the the jury's probably out, but success stories of what happens when you get to be a part of the Bloomington Artistry community. And so we just wanted to give you a piece of who we were so you kind of understood where we're coming from and how we're trying to lead and go forward. So You heard that we have a new leadership team. Look, we have pictures. So that's me, and Ben and Allyson are the new artistic team. And we can just keep going. Artistry, if you're familiar, is an arts organization in Bloomington, Minnesota, seeking artistic excellence and expanding artist opportunity by producing theatrical productions and presenting visual arts exhibitions while curating educational opportunities connected to the work. And that's a little bit different. I know that it sounds like everyone's very familiar with artistry, so I won't dwell except to say that these are sort of the focus that we've come up with. We are really unique in that it is all about artistry, visual arts and performing arts, how that comes together and how we can encourage and expand access to arts experiences. We live it and believe very much in inclusion, diversity, equity, accessibility, and anti-racism, and the artist experience. We just can't move forward unless we invite everybody. And I think what Artistry has always tried to do is do that. I think they have a track record of doing it. I've seen the city of Bloomington has a commitment to it, so we're in the right place. We're in good company. We celebrate all those things. And then the artist experience, whether you're a professional, an amateur, or student, needs to be at the center of how we make decisions. And so that's how we're moving forward. So the elephant in every room we walk into these days is what happened there on September 7th. And we are working really hard to be a transparent and open and honest. We're moving forward, so we don't want to spend too much time looking back, but we want the people that have been committed to us and invested in us to understand where we were. We think we owe that to our community to share some details. And so we did learn that our liabilities outweighed our ability to pay them. And many of you know our former leader, and the thing I would just share is I don't think he did anything wrong. I think he didn't ask for help. We are all of us arts organizations are drowning, and he felt like he could fix it, and that was, we can't do this alone. And his biggest mistake was not asking for help. And so here we are, talking to everyone we can to remind them what the arts mean in this community. So since that happened, we have successfully paid all the artists and people that have done work for us are all paid. We paid or negotiated down more than 78%. That's a new number today. 78% of the outstanding liabilities, which is just humongous that we've been able to get that far. And we have payment plans for the remaining amount. So there were like over 100 people on that list once we dug through and found out what was going on. 100 people and organizations that needed to be paid. And now that list is 6. So we're feeling really good about that progress. And some of that is generous people being willing to negotiate, being willing to forgive, being willing to talk on our behalf, and so we can't do that stuff alone. And we've connected with funders and donors to ensure support that Artistry can remain viable, including a loan from Propel for nonprofits and a generous grant from the Bloomington City Council and the City of Bloomington. Because of those two things, that's the only reason we're standing here. It's because we were able to do that work, and the city and Propel came together and said, we believe that Artistry still matters, and we want to give you one more chance. And you know, we have a city council member here who spent too much time talking to me, so thank you for your direction and your support and believing in the impact of the arts in our community. So because of that, we've been able to do all of these things. So the season impact, I'm actually going to let Allyson talk about these programming things. Does that sound good? Okay.
So this season, we've presented a lighter schedule for our Gifts in the Gallery event. If you were able to attend the December one, it's so much fun. I mean, to see all the arts that are presented by local artists, and it's fun to see artists that I've seen in other communities right in Bloomington. And one of my favorite quotes was a young woman came in and she said, "These are all local artists, and it's right here in Bloomington." She goes, "I love this city." And I was like, we do too. So that was just a really fun moment where it's having an impact generationally, because she was definitely younger than me and she was just so enthralled and excited about it. We actually held another smaller one at our indoor market in March, which was just as fun and just as exciting. We rescheduled our theatrical season, as some of you are aware. We pushed back the 2 of our shows, Pajama Game, which we're going into tech for. Ben and I are actually co-directing and choreographing it. So we're co-artistic directing by day and putting on a show at night. It's been long days, but lots of fun. So we rescheduled our theatrical season, contacted all of our patrons so that they know what's going on. They've been a direct exchange to their new performance date. They've had patron credits credited to them so they can see another show or do another activity at Artistry. And they also had the option to donate their ticket if they wanted to donate those funds back to us. Our galleries are continue to operate as scheduled. I don't know if you were able to see the most recent one, Hyper Memory, which was really cool and unique, had some really cool projections and some green screen stuff. I couldn't get my 3-year-old out of there ever when she explored it. So that was amazing to see, and we're getting ready to put a new one in that's going to open next week. We just are opening the Confluence Gallery this week, a new exhibit in there. And then upstairs in the Atrium Gallery, we have a beautiful photography exhibit by Mark Ye that is just stunning. So hopefully you get an opportunity to experience those. Our educational programming will be offered throughout the year in a limited capacity, and all current students will be accommodated. This is where I've been living my life for the past 3 months, really trying to make sure that we're cultivating the educational program to focus on what we're putting on the stage and also what we're putting in the gallery. So for example, I've really been working hard to get our summer programming up and running because it just holds a special place in my heart. And one of the things that I'm super excited about is that we are producing Godspell. And one of the things about Godspell is that it's full of parables and stories and short stories. So one of the things that I'm looking forward to camp-wise is having the kids understand different types of parables, short stories that they can explore and create on their own, and then go see the show. So all of those things are going to come together, and we're all one nice, tight-knit organization. And our community-engaged strategic planning process will begin the second quarter of 2023. And that's just really making sure we get out into the community and asking those of you who are attend or those of you who are patron of our events what you would like to see on the stage, what you really want to enjoy, explore. We have a very unique opportunity that we can provide a community experience as well as a professional experience. I see that in the room with us as we're rehearsing. I have had someone message me. He said, I haven't been in a show in almost 15 years, and stepping into this space and into this artistry has just been revigorated me. It's taken me out of when I was doing theater full time back into my love, but in a different way. And so that's what we want to do. We really want folks who maybe this isn't their bread and butter of their day to day, but they still love it, to have the opportunity to come in and get on that stage and have a professional experience.
Thank you. So that photo is from rehearsal with Pajama Game. It's happening. We're in the room. We're making theater. We're making art. It's happening. You can go to the next slide that just talks about some of the things that Allyson just shared, but that's a picture of that hyper memory exhibit that you can get a sense of what is happening and how unique those artists are and their perspective is. We're going to jump to operations, if you don't mind. So we want you all to understand, here are some of the efficiencies and financial accountability that we're now adding in. Some of this should have already been there, and some of this we're doubling up, because again, we know we are rebuilding trust with our community and with our donors and with our patrons, and so we want you all to know. So Propel, when they do a loan with you, they also do financial counseling, so to speak. So every month I get to meet with an expert at Propel. We go over our cash flow. We talk about decision making. They've been, their expertise is so wonderful. I've attended several little conferences with them, chances for me to get trained up and learn even more. We're back in our monthly financial reporting to our board. We have quarterly financial reporting to the city of Bloomington. Met with the city manager last week to just make sure that we're continuing to earn the trust that they have given us. We're working on our board governance policies. We're including recruiting new directors with HR, finance, and marketing experience so we can continue to build up the expertise on our board. We're working on a customized board training with Propel. We have a wonderful committed board, some of whom are here, and yet all of us want to keep growing so that we learn and know what's happening. And so we're excited to get that going. Actively engaging, that's a photo. Yesterday we had an event, Saturday, we had an event, Donuts for Donors, and it was not asking for money. It was saying, we appreciate you and we want you to know where we're at. Of course, if they give money, we did not say no. But the idea is we just want people to know that we appreciate it and that we're connected and we're together. And then it's really important to continue to deepen our volunteer and community engagement. That's it's a top thing. And one of the ways we've done that is over the past few months, I have personally met with every resident arts organization, with someone from every resident arts organization. There has been a lot of difficult things. We're all, Sarah and I, we nodded together and sort of commiserate. It's tricky. How do we step forward? We have to do it together. We have so much that we have in common. We're not competitors. We should be lifting each other up. Something that came out of one of those meetings with the ballet, with Continental Ballet, is they were like, hey, we could use some ticket sales. Well, great. We have an email list of 10,000 people. So we put together an ad and stuck it and sent it to our folks. Like, there are easy ways that we can work together. And I'm just happy to say they were fabulous conversations. And I can't wait to work more together with those arts organizations. And so I'm thankful to Sarah in particular who's here that we got that time together. Something that I want to finish with and give you a chance if you want to, because we are rushing, is just to say this. The arts, here's how the arts works and has always worked, is that we are a partnership with our community. Right? There have always been patrons. Michelangelo painted because somebody said, it has value that you paint, and so we will pay for your dinner, we will pay for your lodging so that you can paint, and that's always been the partnership. In a theater organization anywhere across the country, about 40% of the money comes from ticket sales. The rest comes from institutions like Rotary and individual donors. That's how the arts works. And so as a community, we have to decide. And I've lost sleep over the last few months, not gonna lie, wondering what to do. And what I have realized is we can do everything right. We can manage to perfection, and that won't save Artistry or any other arts organization. Only a community that comes together can do that. And so we are so grateful for the chance to talk to you and share with you, and for the history of you as individuals, the Schneiders in particular. I cannot let a chance at a mic go by without saying thank you for the history, but also in the last few months. They have stepped up and supported us, and we're so, so grateful. But all of us, it takes all of us. So thanks for the time today. I know we're at 1:28. We'll stick around if you want to ask questions, or you can email us. We will meet with you. We cannot wait to talk about the future of Artistry because we think it's bright. We really, really do. I hope you come to Pajama Game. We got flyers and things, so you're going to have a great, great time. Thank you so much, everyone.
How inspiring. So don't leave the room without getting some information and possibly buying a ticket, or at least getting the website. I can't thank you enough for being here today and being part of our community. With that, have a wonderful week.